Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to start chapter 15, that is some natural phenomena. Phenomena means processes. Firstly, we should know what is the meaning of natural phenomena. There are certain happenings that take place around us in nature and we have no control over them. These processes are known as natural phenomena. The most common among them includes rain, lightning, earthquakes, cyclones, etc. Some natural destructive phenomena are cyclones, lightning, earthquakes, etc. And in this chapter, we will study the science involved in the happening of two natural phenomena, that is lightning and earthquake. Firstly, what is lightning? Lightning is streaks of bright light and sound caused by electric discharge between clouds and earth or between different clouds. It means when the clouds lose their charge, then a streak of light is produced, which is called lightning. And earthquake, as you know, is a sudden shaking or trembling of the earth, and this is caused due to the disturbance deep inside the earth crust. Crust is the outermost layer of the earth, and these two processes cause immense damage to human life and property. So in this chapter we will try to study the science involved in these two destructive processes called lightning and earthquake. Firstly, before their explanation, we should understand the structure of atom. Why we have to understand the structure of the atom? Because all substances which are present around us are made up of atoms. And atom consists of particles that have charges. If you can see the diagram, you clearly see that there are three types of particles present in an atom, and the movement of these charged particles in a substance causes an electric current to flow and provide us with electricity, which is a form of energy. If I talk about the structure of the atom, there are three types of particles called electrons, protons and neutrons. Protons are always positively charged and electrons are always negatively charged in an atom, and neutron has no charge in an atom. Protons and neutrons are present in the center of the atom, which is called nucleus of the atom. So we can say the central nucleus of an atom consists of the protons and neutrons, while electrons revolve around it in definite paths called orbits. The protons and neutrons are held in the nucleus by a strong attractive force, which is called nuclear force. The nucleus is extremely small as compared to the size of the atom, and the electrons revolve around the nucleus due to electrostatic force. In an atom, the number of electrons is always equal to the number of protons, and thus the sum of the negative charges is always equal to the sum of the positive charges. So we can say the atom is electrically neutral as a whole. Normally, as we are saying, an atom is electrical neutral. However, if it gains electrons from some other atom, it gains the negative charge, and if an atom loses the electrons, it means it gains the positive charge. But the number of protons in an atom remains the same. So if any atom is losing the electrons, it means it gains the positive charge, and if any atom gains the electrons, it acquires the negative charge. So in this way we can say electric charges are developed. In this chapter we will study that whenever we are rubbing two objects, one loses the electrons and the other gains the electrons, due to which there is development of charges. However, electric charges can neither be created nor destroyed, but can only be transferred from one object to another, and this is called the law of conservation of charges. So substances can be charged by friction, conduction or induction, and these types of charges which are introduced by friction, conduction or induction are called static charges. So firstly, charging by rubbing. It means when two objects are rubbed together, they acquire some charge. The object which loses the electron, that acquire positive charge, and the object which gains the electron that attracts that gains the negative charge. So in this section it is written some objects can be charged by rubbing with other objects. When objects are rubbed, they attract like objects like pieces of paper, and this process is called charging by friction. So whenever there is development of charges on an object due to rubbing, that is called development of charging by friction. For example, a plastic refill, scale or comb, when it is rubbed with dry hair, paper or polythene gets charged and attracts pieces of paper. So if all these materials, like if we are rubbing a plastic refill with our dry hair and we bring this plastic refill near some very small paper pieces, these are attracted towards that comb or plastic refill. So this is the example of charging by rubbing. The charges acquired by rubbing are static charges, they do not move, and when the charges start moving, that is called electric current. So we can say electric current is the motion of charges through a conductor. So there is two types of electricity, static electricity and current electricity. When the charges are at rest, it means if they are not moving, that is called static electricity, and if the charges are in motion, that is called current electricity. Now there are, as we know, there are two types of charges, positive charge and negative charge. In the same way, as I told you earlier also, we can also introduce the charge by conduction. You should know what is conduction. The process by which electric charge is produced in a conductor or in any object by bringing a charged object in contact with it is called charging by conduction. For example, if a charged glass rod is made to touch an uncharged object, the charges will be transferred from the charged object to the uncharged object. So if we are touching a charged object to an uncharged object and the uncharged object gets the charge, that is called charging by conduction. In induction, there is no direct contact of two objects, and still the object gains the charge. This is called charging by induction. In this method, the object that is charged acquires an opposite charge than that of the charging object. So we can also we can introduce the charge by three methods. Number one is charging by rubbing, which is called charging by friction. Second one is charging by conduction, when two objects are in direct contact with each other, and third one is charging by induction, in which the two objects gain charge but still they are not in direct contact with each other. Now there are two types of charges, positive and negative charge. As we know, like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. So here are shown, if we bring positive charge object near a positively charged object, they will repel each other, but if we are bringing a positively charged object near a negatively charged object, they will attract each other, because opposite charges attract each other and same charges repel each other. Here is shown different activities which prove that like charges repel each other. In first activity, what we have to do, we have to inflate two balloons, and we have to rub these two balloons with a piece of woolen cloth, and we will hang these two balloons from some height. We will see that these two balloons, because acquire the same charge, they will repel each other, because both the balloons are inflated and they are rubbed with a woolen cloth, and they both acquire the same charge after rubbing. So when they are brought near to each other, they will repel each other. So this activity clearly proves that like charges repel each other. In second, we have to rub a plastic refill with polythene, and then we will place it in a glass. We will again rub another plastic refill with polythene, and we will bring this refill to the near to the first refill. In this case also we will see, because both refills acquire the same charge, so they will not attract each other, they will only repel each other. So these two activities clearly proves that like charges repel each other. Now this is the activity which can prove that unlike charges attract each other. In this activity, what we have to do, we have to take a plastic refill which we will rub with a polythene, and we will keep it again in a glass, any glass tumbler. Now we have to take a balloon and we will also rub it with a woolen cloth, and when we will bring this inflated balloon near the refill, we will see that the refill attracts the balloon towards it, because these two, there are opposite charges on the refill and the balloon, so they will attract each other. So this activity proves that unlike charges attract each other. Now there is shown what is the development of positive and negative charge on different objects. It is seen that when a glass rod is rubbed with silk, the glass rod acquired the positively charge, and but when a plastic rod is rubbed with fur, a plastic rod gets the negatively charged. So the object which loses the electron, that acquire the positive charge, and the object which gains the electron, that acquire the negative charge. This is shown the sequence in which the upper one objects are shown in priority, means they develop positive charge, and the lower one gets negative charge. If we rub these different objects, for example a glass rod when is rubbed with silk, because glass rod is at the upper end and silk is at the lower place. So when we are rubbing any glass rod with silk, glass rod will acquire positive charge and silk will acquire negative charge. In the same way, if we are rubbing ebonite rod with fur, this rod will acquire positive charge and fur will for example ebonite, as you can see, at the lower side and fur is at the upper side. So if we are rubbing ebonite rod with fur, the fur will acquire positive charge and ebonite rod will acquire negative charge. In the same way, if we are rubbing glass with plastic, glass will acquire positive charge and plastic will acquire negative charge. So this is the order in which they gain positive or negative charge. So we can introduce the charge by rubbing any two objects due to the movement of electrons from one object to another. Thank you.